And, you know, if you think about what our board members do, there's a couple key things. One, caring for our students, caring for our staff, caring for all of us here, and the pride that they have to come in each and every month, but then all the different calls and all the, I'm sure, the positives that you receive for no pay. It's selfless service. So a huge thank you. Have a little something for you. A guiding light for student success. School Board Recognition Month. Congratulations. Thank you for your service, Linda and Dor. Go ahead. A little applause here.
Check is in the mail.
It's, Kent, is
Somewhere.
it? It is somewhere.
If you can rely on the postal service.
Okay. We'll wait for it.
Thanks to Eddie Diaz. Travis Langgrave.
Thank you, Mark.
Nice shirt.
Thank you. Got plenty of them.
Joe Toon. Negotiations too. And person who can now see after cataract surgeries, Max Christensen. Thank you, Mark. Okay. We appreciate you guys, all your dedication and work. It's what makes things go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Delivery of superintendent's recommendation to terminate the contract of a non-probationary teacher for notice and filing.
Okay, I'm delivering a sealed envelope with the notice and recommendation to terminate the contract of a non-probationary teacher for notice and filing. Because this teacher has requested a private hearing with the board, this envelope should not be open. And the board should not take any action on this recommendation at this time.
Thank you. Eddie, would you read our mission statement?
Our mission is to develop knowledgeable, skilled, and productive citizens of character.
I'd like to recognize all of our guests here tonight. Nice to see some faces out there. And open up the floor for public forum. Do we have anyone who has something that they wish to address the board about? Okay, hearing nothing, we will move on to the Hall Pass petition, which is implement preventive safety measures in Perry schools and across Iowa. The board will receive, and community members are offered to be able to comment.
So board, at your spot, you will see the Hall Pass petition, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. In the petition, it says, we propose following safety measures be implemented immediately. Allow for one secure entry point during school hours. We do. Installing weapon detectors at the entrance. We do not. Enforcing a temporary no-bag policy with school premises. We do not. And ensuring police presence on site during operational hours, which we have. While we acknowledge that no measures is foolproof, these steps can significantly reduce and risk of such incidents reoccurring. Updated in response to public requests, some parents and students from Perry are interested in initiating a discussion with the school administration and board. They would like to explore the possibility of a remote virtual learning option and encourage open, constructive dialogue between both parties. So I will make sure that Linda has that so that that can be part of the minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll have a comment to this during my superintendent report.
Public hearing on flexibility account. The notice of hearing was published in the Perry Chief on Thursday, April 24th, 2025. This is the time and place for the public hearing and meeting when interested individuals can express their views both orally and in writing regarding a resolution to expend funds from the district's flexibility account in the total amount of $451,155.61 for any general purpose, any general fund purpose. Hearing no requests for public comment, we will move on. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Storm Protection Fund.
Hey, Brad Bankston, floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
You'll be talking about the Storm Protection Fund for 25-26. Thanks
Yes,
for
and
being here.
I gave the board and Clark a copy of my presentation for
Yep.
review because there will be some action items for the board to consider at a later date, probably in a June meeting. I'll keep a high level and as quick as possible. I know insurance is everyone's favorite topic. But essentially what we have is a convective storm issue in the state of Iowa. Our school districts have been hit over the last 5 years very hard, causing insurance companies to take actions around deductible strategies. Back in 2024, the insurance company for the school district, Employers Mutual, EMC, put on a 1% wind hail deductible for any damage to property caused by wind or hail, so convective storm damage. Previous to that, we had 1 year of a $75,000 deductible for wind and hail damage. And previous to that, we had our normal all other peril coverage, which was $2,500. Insurance companies couldn't remain silent, they continued to pay these claims. So EMC put a 1% wind hail deductible in place. What 1% means is it's a per building deductible, 1% of the total value of the building itself. For instance, here at the middle school, high school, we have about $61 million in valuation on the building alone. 1% of that is $610,000. That is the deductible the district would be responsible for if there were to be wind or hail damage. Untenable, very tough to budget for. There's no predictability in that. So the group came together and we were forming what's called a Storm Protection Fund, SPF 25 as it's known. And what this is a 28-year agreement between all districts. Those districts do have to be insured by EMC in the state of Iowa, and they are welcome to join this fund. The cost or contribution to join this fund is based on the total insured values of the district, as well as loss history. And there's 4 tranches. There's a $100,000 all occurrence deductible. That's for the 5 largest districts in the state. The next tranche is a $75,000 deductible. About 30 districts hit that. A $25,000 deductible, which Perry will have, and a $10,000 deductible for those smaller schools. So essentially what we would have here, and I have a case or a scenario in the packet for you, but for the group here, if we were to have a storm and $500,000 in damage were to happen to this building, and $500,000 in damage were to happen to the elementary, we have a total of $1 million in damage. This building has a $620,000 deductible. The $500,000 in damage would be the responsibility of the school district to pay for. It does not reach that deductible. The elementary is a $23 million building, so it's in here, but basically $25 million building, so we're looking at a $250,000 deductible, so we would see some money from the insurance company on that, but the district would be responsible for $750,000 of $1 million claim. I don't think anyone here wants that, and we agree. So this Storm Protection Fund was put into place for the districts to basically have a fund to draw from to pay down that deductible. So if you were to join the fund, that same scenario, you would have a $25,000 deductible once. One occurrence deductible of $25,000. The Storm Protection Fund picks up the delta between that $25,000 and the overall deductible from the 1%, and it takes the unpredictability out of it. You know what your deductibles are going into storm season. I stay up at night when storms come through. I'm sure you guys do too. And the cost is reasonable. The cost to join the fund for this Perry Community School District is $38,500. That is a contribution to become a member of the fund. It is your fund. It is run by the districts. There's a board of 7 people from different districts who will be making the decision. So it's a 28E agreement, your fund to deal with. It is not assessable. So if it goes over the amount they have in the fund, we will not be assessing the districts. In fact, we're buying $5 million of insurance above the fund just to make sure that we have enough money in there. And this is actuarially sound. There was analysis done. The worst year that the school program has had in its 45 years was, of course, 2020, the derecho. That year would have put $12 million of pressure on this SPF fund as it is right now. we're going to have $10 million in this fund with all the contributions from the districts. We're buying a $5 million excess policy above that to cover up to $15 million. So the storm protection fund is very satisfied that that amount will cover us in a worst possible storm. The derecho is something that we may never see again. It hit so many districts. It was a big loss for the insurance company. It takes the guesswork out of it, and it puts us in a position where we can predict for budgeting purposes what our possible bogey is out there for that storm season. And with the fund itself, if we have a good storm season and that fund isn't drawn down, your contribution the next year will be less, and it will be prorated with all the districts. And if we can build the fund up to 15 million over the first 3 years and have good years, there are going to be years where you may not have to contribute at all because the fund is fully funded, and it is funded in an interest-bearing account, again, ran by the districts and the board over the SPF. So from my eyes, as an insurance professional, and I do need to say this is not an insurance product. This is not an insurance product. This is a pooling concept. You're pooling your money together, which is the general foundation of insurance. I don't think that we can do without this SPF fund. The way storms are happening and the damage that we're seeing, having a large 1% deductible out there. There are districts that have $100 million buildings. They've got $1 million deductibles for wind and hail. Very tough. Budgets are tight. The process moving forward will be IASB, the Iowa Association of School Boards, is working with Gesture Insurance, who oversees the program, to come up with a sample resolution for districts to use. You will need to vote on that to either enter the 28E or say you're not going to enter the 28E. If we do move forward with entering the 28B, the $38,500 will be due by July 1st of this year, which is the same date as your normal insurance renewal. With that, I know there's a lot of information, but I want to offer some time for questions.
15 million is the top threshold of the money that they're going to bring in and put in that. How many are with it, if everybody agrees to it, how much will that first year accrue?
So the first year goal is to get to 10 million.
Okay.
And if we can get to 10 million, and we're fairly confident.
Yep.
We don't see any districts saying no to this.
Yep.
But we're fairly confident to get to that 10 million.
Yep.
Part of that money will be used to purchase the $5 million layer above that.
Okay.
So that is
So there'll be
a
some
true insurance
expenses.
excess product. So
Yep.
if we reach that 10 million, we still got 5 million we can send off to an insurance company to pay for.
Yep.
And the goal is to never, of course, hit that number and eventually have our fund to a position where we don't have to buy that insurance policy for the fund.
So theoretically, 38,000 would be the most we would ever pay if it ever got used all up.
Yes.
So,
theoretically.
so the highest that we'll pay yearly would be this 38,000.
Unless you guys decide to put up another big building somewhere.
Right.
But yeah.
And that would get paid out of a management fund, Kent? Right?
Brad, would you get that to 20, what does it take then to get to 2080? Will ISB be sending that out, or?
They will get it to us. I will forward it along probably to Kent for inclusion in the agenda for votes. I think they're just drawing up the last bit of the sample language. I do recommend any district, run it by council, but this being through the IASB, we're pretty confident it's going to be the language, and it's a simple 28E agreement. There's not a whole lot that goes into those.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Brad?
Thank you, Brad.
And I forgot to say, class of 96, go Blue Jays.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
thank you.
Is there an action item on this, or is this?
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, thanks.
So we have time.
All right, so we can probably look for additional information for our next month's agenda. Okay, thank you. Superintendent's report.
Okay, Mrs. Luderman. We are going to be ready to go right now. These folks are going to give an update on the summer workout program called Cherry Blue Jays Challenge Accepted is what I put down. They'll have another name in there. But Tina and I have talked numerous times, along with Josh, along with Ryan, and we know that we always have to have a strength and conditioning program of some kind if we're going to have kids to be confident student athletes. So with that, Tina Luder, take it away.
All right, thank you. First of all,
Thank you.
I really enjoyed this position the past year. I've learned a lot about it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So it's been a great week being surrounded by so many good people who work really hard for us. But this is our summer plan that we've come up with. We are calling it Perry Strength and Performance. PSP is the plan. And this is Mr. Jolivet, Brian Jolivet, and Josh Nornham, and then Matt Hardy is also on our plan for the summer. So our theme for the year is Challenge Accepted, and we're talking about showing up. So we're starting with our coaches. So we've had coaches meetings where we've talked about this and rolling it out, about we have to be here. We just have to show up. There's no more excuses for it. It's time to just dig in. We've written a mission statement here too, to enhance student athlete development through revitalized strength and conditioning program, emphasizing long-term growth and peak performance. Programs designed to prepare athletes to meet the physical and mental demands of competition while instilling lifelong habits of discipline, accountability, and perseverance. Through structured, progressive training and positive team-oriented environment, we aim to build stronger, more confident individuals who are equipped to succeed both on and off the field and in life.
And so with the challenge accepted and it being there, we wanted to break that down. We have it in 3 categories. Being there means being physically there, being there means being there for others, and being there means mentally there. On this slide, you see that it says student athletes, but you can change that out with coaches, volunteer coaches. And we just wanted to break it down because be there sounds really simple, and it's a simple ask, but what does that actually mean? So we gave them opportunities to look at this. I do TNT talks every Thursday, which means takes no talent. And I have male athletes come from all over the sports to my flexi, and we talk through what it means to look like attending school, practice, competition, off season, being physically there, being prepared, being there, giving 100%, what it means to be there for others, support, hold them accountable, and celebrate, and then what it means to be mentally there, choose to be there, want to be there, believe they need to be there, and then a desire to win and be there. So just breaking that down and what it means. I know the football team is going to be using be there as a phrase on defense. So this year you're going to hear that a lot.
So we've sent out a survey to all of our 6th through 11th grade students just to get an indication of students that are willing to participate. So we have names and we can start working forward from that. The staff for the summer that I've talked with is going to be Josh Nornham, who previously ran the ETS programs for us. So he'll be our head strength and performance coach. Ryan Jolivet is going to be one of our paid staff over the summer. He's in charge of managing the expectations of the room and ensuring that the rules are followed and we're doing things safely and correctly. Mr. Hardy will help track attendance, and we're going to have some incentives that we'll talk about in a few minutes. And I've also got quite a bit of buy-in from our head coaches who have committed to this program as well, assistant coaches, middle school coaches, to help manage open gyms. And then we've also opened it up to, we have a few students, former students, that are now working in the exercise science programs that want to intern and kind of get their hands involved in our programs as well. So here's what the program looks like.
Yeah, so we offer Monday through Thursday essentially, and then Fridays are optional and open to kids that want to come get some extra work in, a little bit maybe more individualized potentially based on their recovery. But 6 o'clock will be an open time. Anyone can come, any kid, any age. If they have a baseball game, softball game, an event, work potentially, I mean, they can come at 6 o'clock. There's really no excuse for them to not show up. 7 o'clock will be middle school boys, so incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And then 8 o'clock middle school girls, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then high school boys followed by high school girls. And then opposing times, so essentially the goal behind this is to get them there 2 hours, and that's it. So they go for training and go to the open gym if they desire to go to that open gym. Monday, Wednesdays will be fall sports, football at 8 o'clock, and then Tuesday, Thursdays will be middle school boys, basketball, wrestling, and middle school boys basketball, wrestling, and then 9 o'clock volleyball, girls basketball on Tuesdays, volleyball Wednesdays, and the girls basketball game and wrestling on Thursdays. And kind of get the gist there. So they come to their training, they go to the open gym, or they go to the open gym to train, essentially. That's kind of how the schedule is laid out. If there's any in-depth questions you'd like to know about the training, I'm here to answer questions as well. But there's the schedule there.
We felt like last summer, a lot of our student athletes were expected to arrive and then leave and then come back later and then leave, and it fit more into the coach's schedule, so we tried to think about what the students look like. I've reached out to a couple of conference schools to find out what they do for the summer, and I've also reached out to some other schools that are similar sized that used to be kind of where we are right now and have really grown as far as performance and success in their programs. So this is kind of tailored after those, but tried to make it fit for us as well.
And you'll see on your front page the schedule too. If you make the connection, middle school boys would show up at 7 to train, and then connecting to 8 o'clock open gym that the coach is running. So we would be in the weight room, but then the head coach of that sport would be running the open gym at 8 o'clock. So you're just asking the kids to be there 2 hours instead of having to show up at 7, then come back at 9, then come back at 11. And so another way to hopefully make schedules that are easier for them to track, we wanted to kind of gamify this and add some incentive to being there. There's a lot of incentives out there that programs have. And one of those is a point system. You'll notice that there's a lot of different ways that students can earn points. And it's not based off of being the strongest. It's based off being there and showing up. You'll also see that there's a chance for earning awards later on as a raffle prize, and those points are manageable to where if you go on vacation for a week, you're not going to be out of the drawing, but it is going to show up who came and whatnot. So below your point system on the back of the packet, we have incentives. So 50 points you could get within 2 weeks pretty easily. Your name's placed in the tailgate raffle, and we'll talk about the tailgate in a second. And then 25 points after that, your name is going to be submitted back in that raffle. So students are incentivized to show up and work out and be a good, model athlete of high character, and that's what they're getting rewarded for. So someone that's maybe new to the weight room or new to sports hopefully isn't feeling too uncomfortable and saying, oh, I can't lift this much, or I can't do that much, or run that fast, and still they're getting rewards for being a good athlete of character and wanting to be there. And so that's the point system. We have a couple edits to maybe make, but that would be the big one there with the point system. So at the end of the year, Coach Hart and I would be tracking the points. At the end of the year, we're planning a big tailgate max out party. And so there's 2 reasons for this tailgate party. One is to celebrate everyone's hard work over the summer, working out, and also do the raffle prize drawing. We have a couple ideas for raffle prizes. So they'd show up and they'd be able to have food and hang out and then wait for their name to be drawn in a raffle prize. They might not win and they could have had perfect attendance. It's the luck of the draw with the raffle prize. The other reason for that is a fundraising idea, where this summer we're having them accept the challenge of being there in the weight room, and we'll be tracking 3 lifts, and I'm sure Coach Josh can talk about why those 3 lifts are picked. But it improves overall athleticism, and what they're doing is a lift-a-thon. So if you go to your next page, so again, this is on top, this is all happening at the tailgate. But a lift-a-thon is this fundraiser option. A lot of lifting programs this summer charge a certain amount, and it can range from $25 to $100, and they get like a t-shirt. And instead of charging them a flat rate, we thought this would be fun to add in the challenge, add in the workout. So what's going to happen is these 3 lifts, and Coach Pierce is not here, but they also have been doing this in the weightlifting class, so some will have them before the summer starts. But you'll see here they'll write their max out. So if it's a 100-pound max on bench, at the end of the summer, when we do the tailgate party, they're going to be able to max out in front of all their friends, teammates, and hopefully sponsors. And whatever they get, the sponsor that pledged would then donate that amount, whatever they improve on their max. So if they bench 100 at the beginning of the summer, and then they max out at the end of the tailgate 110, that person would then have pledged $1 per pound, so they'd have to donate $10 to the fundraising. So ideally, they would be outside in the parking lot having fun, throwing football around, cornhole, and then it'd be their time to max out on bench. Their sponsors would come in, their friends would come in, their teammates would come in, they'd be cheering them on as they try to max and get a higher weight on bench. Their sponsors see, oh, they moved up 10 pounds, they would then donate $10. And so with this, we've rolled this out to kids. You can see the front here is just a sample. The back is the actual form, and that's not there. It's just the same thing as the bottom of the sponsor sample. But they're asking for 3 sponsors. They can also do a flat rate donation if they're struggling to find sponsors. So maybe their mom already knows they won't be at tailgate. They could just do $20 sponsor. We're projecting that each sponsor could do all 3 lifts, which would get pretty pricey, but they could just do 1 lift. And if each kid found 3 sponsors, averaging about $25, that'd be about $75, which is what the average summer lifting program is. So adding competition, adding fun, all within this max out tailgate. And they're there for the raffle prize, and I think it just brings in the community. You're inviting your sponsors, your friends and family to be there.
We also have some other sponsorship ideas to help cover some of the costs of this summer plan. So Mr. Sorensen's advertising class has been working all semester on a school year calendar. So all the activities, I feel a little more confident sharing those with them for next year, since I'm the one scheduling them. And they're putting them all into a calendar with the school records will be in there and some pictures from the highlights of the year, and then we would sell those to the community members, and then they'd have a calendar for the entire year of all of our activities. We have the Max Out sponsorship, that as Coach Shelvett just said, and we're also trying to bring back some of the business partnerships that I know Mr. Lipovac did really well. He used to do signage and stuff at the PAC, and we're trying to maybe build that up a significant amount. So I've found other schools have sponsors for their football games that donate money to basically sponsor the game, and they're announced several times throughout the night, and we're trying to get on that board just to help. We're jumping in on that too. We'll include up their names and programs, and then they can do a halftime giveaway. Every race, every track meet I've been to, they have named the races, so someone has sponsored every race. And then all of the money that we raise would help cover the cost of our strength and performance, so we're trying to be proactive on getting this done. The school year would look like all of our athletes would be enrolled in Mr. Pierce's class, so they would have access to the lifting during the day. And then after school, we would work with some coaches and Coach Josh to use that 3:30 to 4 o'clock period to make up for any student who couldn't be in weights. So like this is a year-round plan. We have a plan for the entire year mapped out. So I don't know that I include all that, but it is planned out. We have an idea for all of it. And then, I should ask if there's any questions on this first.
The last few pages of the packet have sponsorship catalog and like a form and a letter that would be sending out to businesses. I know that Mr. Sorensen's class has been like researching businesses and pairing and stuff, so it's been cool to have classes involved as well. But you see different categories within the sponsorship.
I would just like to interject on the scheduling side of things. It's a little bit different than previous couple of summers. Previous couple of summers, the middle school athletes have been a little bit later in the morning, and the high school athletes have been earlier. And we feel by changing the time slots, since the middle school athletes really can't drive themselves to a workout yet, they're still early enough that parents can drop them off. And this also gives an opportunity for our high schoolers to maybe sleep a little longer into the morning than maybe our middle school kids do. So hopefully it works a little bit better in their schedule. Also having the open gym either precede their workout or end their workout is going to be a fantastic thing, because the expectation is in order to participate in your open gym, you've been at your strength component of your workout, and open gyms are now truly going to be a skill-based option, where in the previous couple of summers, you might have seen a bunch of 5-on-5 basketball, pickup games being played where they truly weren't working on their skill development. They were just kind of having fun. So I think we'll see a lot of growth from a skill side of things for our sports, as well as the strength and speed side of our sports. I think it's a fantastic, well thought out plan.
I would agree. Commend all 4 of you. I know Tina working through the schedule, but then also connecting with the Booster Club and keeping this whole thing about getting stronger and quicker and confident student athletes, plus then all that scheduling and getting that to connect is outstanding, as well as what Matt Hardy said, everybody needs to live. Everybody has to be part of this agility if you're going to be part of the team. And it takes buy-in. And these guys have worked on buy-in. I saw when all the kids were in the pack, not all of them, but the grade levels, they were all there. And getting them to buy into it. And it's what we have to do. If we want to be competitive in any kind of athletic endeavor, this is key. No different than music, drama. If you're going to be good at it, you got to work at it. And you got to show up, be there. So applaud you guys for the teamwork, the organization, and going through the Booster Club, because I said, hey, general fund isn't quite ready for this, all right? So they're working on that angle too.
Do you see any possible conflicts between Booster Club and your fundraising as far as tapping into the same people who are currently already supporting financially?
Right. So the Booster Club, I feel like they have two fundraisers. They have donors give them money and they sell t-shirts. And so when the donors give money, we as the activities department actually then give away admissions to activities. So it's actually kind of money from our activity fund, which then they get to choose how it's spent. So I'm asking for a little higher level commitment. So we can work with the Booster Club and figure out how that would work, but I guess we're trying to create an advertising and a sponsorship more scenario rather than just like your name in the program or just donate some money and we give you some admission. So we're trying to work a little bigger than that.
And just a very nice positive, I have very much appreciated your weekly activities calendars because it makes organizing your life just a little bit easier and knowing what's coming up this week.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It does take time.
Good to know everyone's using it, so I appreciate that.
Well, the parents are, because the kids, they don't communicate very well.
Well, perfect, yeah.
The parents certainly are. Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's a good way for me to know where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So what do you anticipate the summer costs to be?
So I don't really have a separate for the summer. I'm kind of planning for the entire year because I would like Coach Josh to be involved in all of this throughout the entire year. So we have a year-long goal of about $25,000, which is kind of covering the salaries for our paid coaches in the summer and for Josh for the year, as well as helping with the incentives and the tailgate, the cookout thing, and all of the extra things there.
Okay, so is this program going to be run by the Booster Club? Or is it the district's program?
That's a great question.
Have to know which fund.
It's going to be
Right.
run by the district, but through the funds.
incentive
when the
side would
funds are
have to
gonna
go
be
through the Booster Club,
Through the
for
Booster
sure.
Club.
So, yeah, we would have to figure out.
So nowhere in this does it say anything about Booster Club. And the district would not be involved, and I don't even know if the Booster Club would have a gambling license for the raffle. The district does not have a license for that, and I don't know if you can go out and purchase a gambling license for X amount of dollars, but
Oh, perfect.
It's
Very cheap. Yeah.
no.
very
But what you have to do is, you have to keep track of what your sale, and you have to submit sales tax. So I don't know how all that works, but
Good to know.
I just see Perry District written all over this.
I think if you change your word to drawing as opposed to raffle, I think that makes a difference in whether or not you need the license. if you call it a drawing, because then everyone has an option.
Right.
If you're
Yeah.
drawing, but if you're calling it a raffle, then you get into
It's
the
only
money
selected
aspect.
people.
Yeah,
And that, yeah.
and it's,
I realize there's things we still need to
Semantics.
work through, and we're just trying to move forward and get our summer plan. So we're trying to put something on paper, so we're ready to move forward in June.
Well, I think it's much better plan than what we've had in the past.
Yes.
And it seems to be, even if it was 25,000, it's considerably cheaper than the program we were using previously.
Well, it's getting better buy-in by all the coaches. Number one, the schedule is better.
Yeah.
And you have to have buy-in if you're going to buy everybody to make it work. Now,
How has the initial's response been from feedback from, I know that these papers, some of this stuff went out already to the kids, right? Have you had any, how's turn-in been? And how much pressure have we been putting on the kids to, hey, where's your pledge sheet? Hey, how's that? Have we had any?
We've been a little light on the pressure because we
Yep.
knew this was on the schedule.
Yep.
I've had students straight up thank me for
Yep.
having this idea.
Yep.
Had some students be like, I'm really nervous about lifting in front of people. And so there's talk and excitement.
It sounds like a great idea.
I have extra flyers in my
love it.
room, and I think every day someone's grabbed a new lift-a-thon sheet and the schedule. So the kids seem excited about it, which is great.
I love that it's Perry's program as opposed to somebody else's program. I love that you guys are fitting it into what works for Perry. I think that's fantastic.
And I think I'd like to add what Mr. Wick said about being competitive and being there. Most programs around the state have a full-time lifting coach, and that coaches each season, and that's what the plan that Ms. Luderman has come up with, is that Josh would be the lifting coach for each season of sport. And I think we need that to be competitive around the state and around the other high schools that we're doing. If you go on the job board, they're looking for assistant coaches to help with lifting programs. And we have two right here. We have Coach Craig, who's going to be doing baseball, that wants to be involved. Coach Hayes, who's a volunteer, wants to be involved. And Josh's goal was to have so many kids per coach, and we're there just through excitement. And usually there's a full-on, coach staff as a strength coach and two assistants.
How is Mr. Pierce's excitement? Is he on board with this? Does he feel good about this? How's his buy-in?
He said he will get me the maxes before the summer starts. So
Okay.
we should be able to get maxes for those that are in class.
Okay.
At this point, he's expressed to me that he wants to stay focused on his in-class
Yeah.
students.
Okay.
which That's fine.
Yep.
He's willing to work with us as far as sharing the information that he has.
Yep.
But the programs would be very similar to what he's doing in class, to
Yep.
what we are doing outside.
Okay. So there shouldn't be any clashing or anything like that where he's on board with what he does and this program can continue on without any.
Hey, thank you guys.
I love it. Yeah.
That's exciting. Hey, Tina, I would say this, at some point, you, me, and Kent, and maybe all of you guys, we get together to see how everything lays out.
Thank you.
Where the money comes in, where it goes out.
Oh, cool.
Just how that's gonna all work, so we can get that planned out. Okay?
all right.
Great plan.
Thank you very
Go
much.
Blue Jays, go JS.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mr. Mackey, and we have some Perry Middle School selected staff.
All right.
Very
so
selected, so.
I have these are highlights from our PLCs throughout the middle school. You're going to get to hear from Chris Marks, who teaches computers and visions for us. The reason, I guess, we have a lot of really solid PLCs. I've been incredibly impressed with Mr. Marks's work with his unique PLC, which the reason I think it's unique, and you may not have heard someone like this one, is he has all singletons in his PLCs. And this year in particular, it's come together. Exciting stuff about the great part of what we're doing. This is really exciting for me to see throughout the school year on Wednesdays and hear about it and see come together with Mr. Marks' work with his PLC. And so I'm going to let him share some of the successes that he's had, maybe some of the struggles and what makes it hard to run a PLC when it's the PE teacher, the art teacher, the computers teacher. So without further ado, here's Chris Marks.
No, I think I know pretty much everybody, at least by reputation, hopefully at least by decent reputation. I had like a 45-minute presentation and a half-hour video. I was told my time would be welcome, so let's just try to go a little bit. I've been really proud of our PLC this year. I've been a part of 8 other PLCs in the Perry District that just never really worked real well. And that wasn't the fault of anybody. It was just not coming together. I've been a part of some national PLCs for computer teachers and statewide PLCs for computer teachers that have worked well. And so I really want to thank the people in my PLC, Michael Craig, Jessica Kay, Lisa Christensen, really bought in this year. Because when I took over the PLC this year, I just said, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to open every meeting with how can we help you? And every meeting we pretty much start with, how can we help you this week? And we're going to focus on the 4 things, okay? What do we want our students to know? How are we going to know if they learned it? When they don't learn it, what are we going to do? When they do learn it, what are we going to do? Okay? How can we help you with those things? And when our meetings tend to get off topic, we try to bring it back to that. And when it's impossible, I want to say a thank you to Ned, to Adam, to Clark. I have literally just put on our PLC, and I know they're reading them because they come to me about it, that we're having a closed door session this week. That what my people need is a chance to vent. And we just don't report anything because we're not focused on those 4 things. We're not doing the good work we're supposed to be doing, but we need some time. And it's only happened a couple times this year, but nobody's come to me and said, you didn't report anything this week. What were you doing? Okay? And it's really helped my people buy in, knowing that people are reading when we're doing our work. They're reading what we're doing. And when we say that we need a break, that we need to do something else, nobody's come to us and questioned us with that. And I assumed if we did that a bunch, that we might get some questions on it, but nobody has with a couple times we've done it. Some things I'm really proud that we've done. We've come to some real good ideas, helping everybody come up with rubrics for their project, because we're almost all project-based, but also come up with a lot of good ideas for PE, where it's more performance, attendance, and participation-based, where everybody's come, even though that's not what any of us do, we've come up with ideas, because that's the one thing that, how are we going to help you with this thing? And we ask everybody to participate. Everybody brings some ideas. Even if you don't like your own idea, bring an idea. How can we help this person? Been really proud of just how like I said, we've all come together. And the last thing that we've really worked on for the last 3 weeks or so, and that we're going to work on through the end of this year and starting next year, is specials. That's what we call our classes, special classes, incentive program. Because the one thing that we've really come to, the biggest problem that we all have as special teachers, is that not most, but a lot of parents don't consider our classes, they consider them extracurricular. They don't consider our classes crucial. And so when a lot of our students, as long as they don't have missing work reported in our class, we all hear a delight. Well, it's not missing work. I got a 1, right? That's good enough. My parents, it's music, it's computers, it's PE. My parents don't care if I get a 1 in PE. I don't have missing work, so I can go to the 7th grade reward day, or I can go to the 8th grade reward day. So what we're going to come up with, hopefully for next year, we're still working in particulars, because we all have a little bit of disagreement on what's the most important to all of us, is a specials incentive days. And we don't want to do it every quarter, like the other grades do. We want to assess it at the end of first quarter and do the reward day in second quarter. We want to assess it at the end of third quarter, because we want it to be a longer running thing. And then we want to, but it's not going to be based on, do you have missing work? And this is where it's taking a lot of planning on our part. It's going to be based on participation. It's going to be based on preparation. Did you come? Because all of our classes, you need to bring things to our class. My class, you have to have computers. Gym, you have to dress out. You have to bring your instrument to music. Okay. Art's a little different, she has everything they need, but, so that, and were your grades, you know? And grades, I know we don't do grades, but, you know, just like the principals list, you know, over your specials classes, did you have, we're thinking right now, we're starting with, did you have at least a 2 in every standard in all your specials classes? And that will be the second quarter. And then you'll earn your incentive day. And we're a little disagreeing. I'm not big on doing a day where the kids go out and do something. I'm more in reward, they get rewards in each individual classes. We're in a little disagreement with that, but we're working it out. And then third quarter will be, the assessment will be the same as far as participation and preparation, but it'll be a higher standard they have to meet. They'll only be able to, they're expected to have mostly 3s and maybe a few 2s and no 1s in order to earn the reward day. Because we want it to be important that the kids meet the standards in our classes too. Because we might be a little selfish, but every one of us, they may not all consider computers an important class, but I do. Okay, and not every teacher might consider music especially an important class, but I'll guarantee you that Mrs. Christensen thinks it's important. We all consider our classes important, we all consider our standards important, and we want the kids to find them to be important too, even if it means we have to kind of bribe them a little bit. We're willing to do that. But like I say, it's going to be based on those 3 things. And that's one thing that we're really working hard on the last few weeks, and that we're going to work hard on it into next year. So I'm willing to answer any questions, but I'm also willing to let me get out of here. So whichever you guys would prefer. Go ahead.
2 questions.
You
So for yours, PLC specifically, what type of data do you guys share? You talked about rubrics, which is good, probably good, helpful. What type of data do you guys share with each other?
Okay, the main one that we look at is the percentage of our kids that have a 3, that have their thing in, that have whatever standard that we're doing, you've got it knocked out. How many kids? And we want them to be at least 80% or more. Otherwise, we need to go back and reteach as a whole class. Okay? If we're above 80%, we can do remedial one-on-one, small group, whatever. But if we're not at least 80%, 3, whatever standard we're grading, then we need to reteach that. This is what kind of idea that we've come to. Okay, so that means something different for all of us.
Right.
But if we're all working off a rubric for our project, okay, says this is what they need to get a 1, 2, and 3, and that's why we've made rubrics really a priority at the beginning of the year. Is that we know what their mean standard, and then we can say, okay, we got this many kids that are not meeting that standard. We've got to reteach. How are we going to go about reteaching? How do you go about reteaching? How many times are we going to reteach it? Because the thing that we have to recognize as special is we have half the amount of time in a school year. So do we shrink the number of standards we do in order to get reteaching in, or how are we going to go about it? And so everybody has a little bit different answer to that. Because everybody's different. That's kind of one they say. The biggest problem Ms. Christensen has with that, and as far as reteaching, is she's got another concert coming all year, every year. She's got at least 2 or 3 performances coming. She's got solo lessons coming. She's got all this stuff coming. So how is she going to go about reteach? When is she going to cut off her reteaching? For my class, okay, what am I going to take out if I'm going to reteach a bunch of this stuff? Because for me, that's what it comes down to. What lessons am I going to take out if I've got to reteach the whole 6th grade loops? Only half my 6th grade gets the loops. What am I going to reteach? And what am I going to teach the others? Why I reteach loops to half of them. Okay. And so in Gen, the basic answer has been, well, I'm going to reset my standards for next year because I do the same standards all 3 years. So they take different answers for everybody, but how do we come about it? And that's where we get our data. Where are we at as far as number of students, percentage of students completing a standard? That's the only data we can look at. We can't look at, because none of us have any common standards at all.
Right.
So it's the percentage of students that meet a standard, a particular standard, and then we kind of assign one a quarter. What standard are you going to make sure to hit what standards are you hitting with this? And everybody kind of has to bring that each quarter.
So when do you know if they're not meeting those standards? How often do you meet?
At the well, every assessment, every teacher should be looking at that. As far as what we can share at PLC, everybody's bringing one standard per quarter. Okay, and then we're helping. Okay, these were my numbers. Okay, I was giving an example from computers. Second quarter, I had kids just completely bombing conditionals. They just didn't get it for both my grades. Whatever I did different this year that I've done in other years, we just weren't getting it. Okay, and so what I had to do was I just took it to everybody. I said, "Here's my numbers, and my numbers are not good." Okay, I don't need you to know how to program. I didn't need your teachers to know how to program a conditional or even know what a conditional was. They've all had students not get something, and I asked them. I say, "Guys, I've got to teach this. I don't have a choice. It's one of my 4 core standards that I've got to reteach." Okay, I've got these other systems I can do it, but what am I going to drop? And they go, "Okay, help me with ideas." And what I basically did is I took my online safety unit, which is not, and the 7th grade kids knew it because they did a longer online safety unit the year before, but we basically took a 5-week online safety unit, made a 2-week online safety unit, and we did 3 more weeks on conditionals. And my other teachers just came alongside me and said, yeah, basically what they told me is, because I wanted to move on, I wanted to stay to my schedule because that made me feel good, and they just said, "You can't do that. What can you cut? What's non-essential, what you have left?" And I said, "Well, my online safety standards, they are a state standard, but they're not one of my main 4, and I've got this really cool 5-week unit I do." And they said, "Well, what can you lose?" And I said, "Well, I can't lose anything. It's this wonderful plan that I put together." And they said, "Yes, you can." And so my 5-week online safety unit became a quick 5-day, because 2 weeks for me is only 5 days. That's only 5 class periods for me. My really cool online safety unit became, we're going to watch a movie 20 minutes at a time, 5 days. We're going to answer these questions, and we're going to make these posters that tell people how to be safe online. And I gave up the rest of the stuff. But I retaught conditionals for 3 weeks after I just taught it for 4 weeks, and I went from about 30% of my kids getting it to almost 80%. I still didn't get to 80%. I'm not sure what I did wrong teaching conditional this year. They just weren't getting it. So, no. I hope that answers your question. Kind of a long way to go about it, but.
Second question maybe for the administrators. At the beginning of this year, Kevin mentioned that you guys were going to work on unpacking the standards, which kind of surprised me that we're doing that. Wondering if we've moved on to other stuff.
So I think what he was saying on that is we always start the year by looking at the standards and reassessing those. And so even right now, we have teachers checking to see, like Mr. Marks mentioned, his 4 boulders. There's teachers every year, you want to make sure that those boulders that you have are still being consistent. Especially when you maybe have staff changes in different positions. I always think you should stay with it that first year and then kind of see where you're at. But yeah, that first part of the year, it's very important to go back through your standards to make sure number one, I think it's just good practice as a teacher after the summer to go back through and look at everything. But which ones are those core ones that you're gonna, like Mr. Marks was saying, do everything you can to ensure that they're getting to that 80% mark. So that's what I remember with it. So if I'm off,
So we've moved on to the other stuff by this point in the year, I'm guessing, like the assessment piece,
I don't think we're unpacking standards, but like Ned was saying, hey, these are what we're looking at, and then that's what we're going on when we're measuring in our PLC. So we're not going through in the process of looking at the standard, breaking it down, doing that anymore. We have our essential standards. Now we're just making sure those are the essential standards still. And then with us at the high school, Kevin, if they're changing standards, there's a process that we put in place now for that, if that makes any sense.
As far as like what we used to do with highlighting the verbs and then writing them simpler. We didn't do any of that this year. And so, at least I didn't have my staff do
We did
that.
not do that. I don't know if I've had staff laugh.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why when he mentioned it, I was kind of taken aback.
Yeah, not to contradict Kevin, but like, my PLC is made up of all experienced staff that's been in PLCs from the elementary to the high school to, we've been moved around. We'd never been a group until this year. None of us needed to unpack any standards.
Gotcha.
We took a quick, I think, maybe a week, and then
It was
you
the
looked at
front end of the-
yeah, maybe a week, and we said,
September.
what are your standards? Are you happy with your standards? Are you good with your standards? Because for us to unpack our standards would take
a lot
forever,
of work.
because we're not unpacking the same standards. I've got 17. I don't know how many, I don't even know how many. I know Lisa's 4 main ones. I know Craig's 4 main ones. I assume everybody has close to 15 to 20, just like me. If we went back and tried to unpack those, we'd spend more than a year doing it. So, yeah.
So what was the
Thank you.
process like before PLCs?
Before PLCs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've only been a teacher for 9 years, so I don't. PLCs have always been a part of my world.
Well,
Yeah.
8 years ago,
Yeah, it was-
everybody, the whole staff went to Des Moines that 8 years ago, and everybody was part of that whole PLC process. Since then, we've evolved from that. We did some unpacking up. We thought it was a pretty good idea, and that's what they talked about, but we're not doing that. It's to simplify is what we've learned more and more. Try to get those 4 boulders, and let's do those things well, as opposed to doing 8 or 10 or 12, and none of them very well. And Chris highlighted those 4 key things so smoothly, all right? And that is key. What are we going to teach? And then, what if they get it? What are we going to do? What if they don't? And the thing of it is, that's the essence of it. So, good job of capturing that. But 8 years ago, we did that, and then each year, though, we send people, new staff, to a PLC conference. So we should have everybody that is teaching closely. We should have, and we want to get everybody that has gone to that 3-day conference. And then through their partners, they can collaborate and they start learning more about PLCs. So what did we do before that? Boy, it changed a lot. I know as a principal, we were probably, as I look back, we didn't simplify, I would say.
We had
We
some
tried to do
collaborative
everything.
groups, but
What's that?
we had some collaborative groups, but we didn't do anything formal.
You kind of just let the
Before that, we had
textbook run
none.
your class. I
We
mean,
just did.
I taught without it for a couple of years when I started 7th grade math. You just kind of ran through the book, trusting that Holt Mathematics, which is the program I had, always had the right standards. And honestly, looking back, I did some things really poorly those first couple of years. And so this is a way better way of making sure that you're always fresh with the standards and knowing what you're teaching each year.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
No
much.
problem, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Ned. Okay, hey, next. Boy, I tell you what, we are action-packed here. What great things, though. We
Yeah.
covered, these are
For
2
sure.
foundational things. So, all right, hey, Emily Nelson, IJAG Region 5 Program Supervisor, and we have an IJAG instructor here also. Will give us some of the highlights.
Feel important today.
So, Emily?
All right, thank you for having me. Like Clark said, my name is Emily Nelson. I am the program supervisor for the Perry IJAG program. This is my 2nd year in being assigned to the 3 Perry IJAG programs that we have here. So just kind of want to go an overview. Obviously, we had last year and we had some positions to fill. So we filled our 9-10 position with Josh here, and then we filled our 11-12 position with Sean Zanders, who is not able to be here tonight. And then we have our veteran, Miss Holly Kilmer, who was going to be here tonight, but she wasn't able to. And Holly's just wrapping up her 6th year with us. Her and I started together back 2019, so that's fun. So it's really nice to finally have a solid school year to where we had the positions filled and we had steady, consistent staff there. with that. So just a couple highlights I wanted to provide you guys is that throughout the course of this school year, in total amongst the 3 programs, so we have our 7-8, then we have our 9-10, and then we have our 11-12. Josh and Sean, they do share a classroom, and they also have a shared office together. So they split and share that classroom, and they each have 3 class periods apiece for the high school, and Holly has 4 with that. But for total numbers served, so this would be a number of students that we have served this school year, is 148 students. So that encompasses the current students, but that's also students that maybe started at the beginning of the school year but transferred, or they moved, or they were able to take it first semester, but that due to scheduling, which we know is a big thing in itself, we're able to get in a second semester. So that's our number of total students served is 148 this year. Current students, what we kind of like to refer as butts in seats, are the ones getting the material in the curriculum every single day. We are at 125 students currently with that. So honestly, that's pretty right on track, but there's also room for growth with that, which is exciting. So we have what we minimum roster size is what we call it, and with that we base that on the student body size, which is a little new to our organization. Years past, it kind of just depended. It was like 35 to 45 if the specialist was brand new. If you were in your second year or more, then that kind of would bump up to 45, 55, and so on. Now we've gone more by student body size. So Holly's roster size is around 45. She doesn't serve 5th and 6th graders. It's just solely 7th and 8th graders with that. And then for Josh and Sean, that number can, that minimum we hope to get to, we knew that this year was going to be a rebuilding year, just with 2 new staff, they can go up to 60 with that. So we definitely have some room to grow. And as Josh had shared, is that your newsletter? Is that what you have? Sean's newsletter, okay. With that, so as you can see, we definitely want to showcase all the great things that our specialists are doing throughout the school year. Also, our specialists, each month, they're required to have an employer engagement. And what that employer engagement means is either an employer coming to the classroom to give a presentation or work and coincide with the lesson that they are giving. We do what we call PBL, which is project-based learning. So if Josh was teaching a lesson in regards to financial literacy, he could bring someone in from the local bank to come in and assist with that activity that they have going on. So you're bringing in that employer, but also doing the lesson as that. So our specialists have an employer in every month. We ask for them to have 1, but they can have more, kind of just whatever their schedule allows or whatever they have going on. Between the 3 programs, they've had 37 employers that the students have been exposed to. So again, that could be that PBL lesson, that could be that classroom presentation, or that could be students going out into the community, going on a tour, whether that's directly here in Perry, if it's in Grimes, in Des Moines, with that, or your career fairs. We were able to take some students to Build My Future, which is this massive event in Des Moines. So anytime we can get those students exposed to those careers, that is what is really important to us. And then with that, our hope, we are really diving into work-based learning as our organization. All 3 of our staff are now fully certified to oversee work-based learning opportunities. So that could be your internships. If a student gets into an apprenticeship of some kind, our 3 staff are able to oversee that. Now with the 7, 8, and 9, 10, that looks a little different, right? We're not sending kids out to internships at that level. So really what the focus for the 7, 8, and 9, 10 is going to be that career exploration piece with that. So pretty big with the employers coming in, just learning about the career of maybe computer science or becoming a welder or to be a nurse, all of that, and really getting them exposed to some of that. And then as they transition then into that 9-10 program, along with that then 11-12 program, that 11-12, which is going to be a big part of Sean's role next year, is really diving into that work-based learning and getting kids out into the community, doing those internships, pre-apprenticeships, apprenticeships, etc. with that. So I know that was kind of all of a lot in a nutshell. But also what I wanted to just share briefly, and Josh can elaborate a little bit more too, is that Our IJAG specialists, their schedule is not your traditional teaching schedule. And some of you may have already seen that if you've been in. I know, Linda, you were able to come present in our 11-12 class last week, so thank you for that. And so with that, it kind of really varies based on the number of students that are on, whether if it's Josh's roster or Holly's roster with that. So I'd say ideally, typically, our specialists have anywhere from 3 to 4 class periods a day. Okay, now your typical teacher's probably doing 6, 7, maybe 8, depending on what they're doing. So the big question we get asked is, well, what are specialists doing the rest of the day? Do they get to go home? No. It's a full-time job for them, right? I also served as a specialist as well, so I kind of had those same questions kind of coming to me, like, oh, you got the easy job, you're done after 3 periods. There's more work to be done, right? So yes, our specialists are doing the school stuff, right? They're teaching the material, they're putting grades into the grade book, they're grading the assignments, the projects that the students are doing. But aside from that, they have a whole other field of things that they have to do just to serve as a specialist for IJAG, right? So they get the school stuff, but then they get the IJAG stuff on top of that. So on top of that, during that downtime, we are very data focused. I don't know how many are familiar with kind of all we do with our data, but we do reporting 3 different times of the year. So we're specifically, they have to run reports, and Tammy may be helping out with that as well, and Rich Nichols over in the middle school with that. But they are running reports 3 times a year to track students' data. So there's data entry that they do 3 different times a year, and they could be doing it up to 60 students. They're also tracking attendance, they're tracking behaviors, they're tracking grades, expulsions, in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension. Are they on track to graduate? Have they shown growth? Like all of that. So then they're sitting there and doing that 3 times a year and entering that data one by one. They don't just get to automatically do like an ad hoc and pull it and it automatically shows up. It all has to be manually entered. Each day after they get done teaching, they have to do what they call a model service. That is essentially a summary of what they did in class. So they have to go in. We have our own JAGForce platform. It's through Salesforce, and we call it JAGForce. So they have to go into that every single day. They have to write in a model service that they do, essentially what they did in classroom. They have to attach competencies to it, meaning like those are our standards, kind of what we talked about earlier, the competencies, the skills that we're taught. They have to go in and track attendance for that. And so they do that every single day regardless. We also have our specialists, they meet with every single student once a month individually. So we call those one-on-one guidance counseling. And it's really just conversations with the students as to how they're doing, how are they doing academically, are they working, are they looking for a summer job, do they want to get connected into a nursing, start a CNA class, and how that specialist can work with them to make that a reality, but also support them. So if you think about it, if Josh has 50 students on his roster, he has to meet with those 50 students individually every single month. That conversation could be 10 minutes, it could be 35 minutes, right? You just never know how long that conversation can be depending on that need of student. So then after those one-on-ones, after he meets with those students, then he gets to go enter all those one-on-ones individually for every single student, every single month. So that in itself is very time-consuming with that. So they're also doing that. They're also making contacts with employers, right? We need those employers to come into the classroom. So our specialists are either going out, so you may see them leaving, where you might not see your math and science teacher leaving the building, coming and going. Our specialists are known to be doing that because they need to be making connections with the community, so then we can bring those members and employers into our classroom to get our students exposed to the careers that they're doing. And so they're also doing that. They are possibly working on community service events. We're very big on community service. So they're taking kids out in the building. They're working with the community and doing the community service event. Maybe they're doing a career fair. I know in years past, Tina and Tammy, you could probably elaborate on that too, is that the IJAG specialists were the ones that would oversee the career fair, and was it blood drive as well? Okay, the blood drive as well. Those are 2 events that we did not have happen this year. We have 2 new brain people in this, so we're getting our feet wet, but next year it's going to happen. That is my goal, is to have those up and running. So their day is different, kind of depending on what's going on at that time. But we also have our specialists through IJAG. They are also doing trainings, currently doing ethics and boundaries training. We have them doing a trauma-informed care training through Scanlon, through the University of Iowa. All 3 of them, like I said, have already completed their work-based learning course, which was through UNI. Now they have the authorization through the BOEE. So there is so much on their plate that are doing during the day. But I know, like, kind of from that outside perspective, it's kind of like, you only teach 3 classes, 4 classes, and then you get to sit in your office all day, right? There's a whole nother side of that to maybe just the outside people don't necessarily see. And I feel like I'm forgetting a lot of other things you guys do, but you want to elaborate at all anymore on that?
I think you covered it quite a bit. I think one thing I'll add is Sean and I talk about it quite often. Employers you bring in, or they go out and see employers, the activities we do in class, kids just, they buy into it quite a bit and they love it. It's a new role for myself, so I'm kind of getting my toes wet, feet wet, like Emily said, but I've done a lot of growth in the last spring semester for myself and how to teach 9th and 10th graders, but it's been fun. And kids buying into something they enjoy. Employers come in, bring food, candy, they love that stuff. Love hands-on activities, all the project-based learning stuff, work-based learning stuff.
And then one other component, just for the 11, 12 specialists for Sean. So our seniors that graduated last year, there was 18 of them that were in IJAG, and we do a follow-up. What follow-up is for our 11th and 12th specialists. And starting June, so the month after they graduate, our specialists follow up with them every single month for 12 months. Via phone call, text message, email, meet in person, what have you, and they are still getting that continued support for 1 year post-graduation. So I have taken on those 18 follow-ups since last March, and I've been still continuing to talk to those students on the phone. I mean, I was here for 2 months-ish and covering while we didn't have a specialist, but so that's another additional duty that Sean has that he will then start doing in June, where, some programs may have 25, 30 seniors graduating, so that's 25 check-ins every single month, and then you get to log that into our system as well. So we're very data heavy. That's a lot of what we do, but also connecting with the community, connecting with employers, and getting these kids exposed to the opportunities with that. So I know Perry's one of our longest standing IJAG programs between at least the 9-10 and the 11-12. Like I said, the 7-8 program came on in 2019 with that. So we always continue to enjoy your guys' support. I know Holly has reached out to maybe a few of you to come into the classroom as well with that, or to help with any kind of activity. So I'll open it up if you guys have any questions for me. I'm happy to answer them, or I will stop talking.
I can say that I was here when the first IJAG class came in. I was actually teaching here at the time, and it has grown considerably, both in content and in credibility. Because at the time it first came in, it was not highly looked upon.
It was
as something that
it was considered a dropout prevention program.
Yes, it was.
Is what it was. Yeah, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary just last week. Lori Phelan was our original CEO. Yes, and it was strictly dropout prevention. That verbiage is not even used anymore. Then it kind of went to at-risk. We don't even use that anymore. We used to say, we serve kids with barriers. We don't use that language anymore. It's literally any and all student. Now, you might see some more students in our program that have a higher need, right? But they just have more challenges. Who doesn't have challenges in life, right? I always say I could have taken the class. I probably should have. I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? And so it can be a student who just simply doesn't know what to do or what they want to do. School's not their jam. They'd rather just go start working right away. Well, how can we get them connected? What can we do to do that? So, yeah, we've definitely evolved, like you said, and I appreciate your comments on that. We're currently sitting at 174 programs across the state of Iowa, and then we look to next year to be at 204.
We've had a very rapid turnover in staff in our IJAGs. We're hoping that we get to a point where we have some retention and longevity.
Yes. Obviously, we lost a few last year, but like I said, I'm confident with having Josh here and also with him being connected as being a head football coach. That's recruiting, right? It's building those relationships. We're very big on that, building those relationships with them. And what's nice in having this full feeder program, this is my only program I oversee that's a full feeder, meaning has all 3 programs and serves grades 7 through 12. So our hope is that those 8th graders that Holly's passing on will go straight to Josh, right? And Josh's sophomores are going to go straight to Sean and stay in it because they can be in it every single year. And that is our hope, because they can get the biggest bang for their buck and then ultimately do that internship, do that apprenticeship, their senior year of high school before they graduate.
So when you say 204 programs, Perry would have 3?
Yes, we have 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Okay.
Do you know the number of school districts in Iowa?
Boy, I don't know the specific number of school districts. I could get that for
No,
you.
I just-
If you wanted that specifically. So like, for example, I have 12 programs in 8 districts. So you think, so just, I have 2 programs at Boone, but I only have 1 at Nevada. So just, within a district, districts can have quite a few. Marshalltown, we have a ton in Marshalltown, but very big district, right, or very big school there. I just opened up Colfax Mingo in January, and there are 7 through 12. One person doing it all, so it looks different, and it's really just based on the need of the school district and what they're needing. And as I said, with that work-based learning component, we are now certified as an organization for work-based learning. So all of our staff are certified to do that, and then a few of our programs will be offering concurrent enrollment through DMAC. So, and we are working with Sean Zanders to be doing that as well. So, good question. Yes.
A few comments, then a question. First, thank you for helping last year. Reflecting on that, it's been crazy how many people had to step in, and I know you helped a lot, so thank you for doing that. Also, the career fair. I know sitting on Perry Economic Development, that comes up a lot, that IJAG did a really good job with that, and I know people in the business world are excited for that to come back.
And we're probably going to pull in maybe Tammy or even Tina, because I'm sure Tina had some hands in that, because Tina was a specialist for IJAG for many years as well. And so that is a big goal of mine. I even shared that with my manager today of coming, we want to put that back on along with the blood drive, because our students also do community service, right? So it can all tie in together.
Brings up the point, we've had turnover at this, but like you guys have been pretty good about recruiting pretty high talented people, including Josh, but we had Tina, our AD now, come through the pipeline, and a bunch of other folks have been really good.
Right? We do our best. I think there's challenges just with any, kind of turnover in the education system. Our specialists don't necessarily have to be teacher certified, right? With that, I was not a teacher, but a background in social work, right? So working with kids, right? That was kind of what I had done with that, but we really try to vet through the system, especially, we know what it takes, that kind of specialist to be in there. It's all about working with kids, building those relationships, and Sean's got previous experience in a school setting as well, and Holly too. So yeah, we've got a really good group right now.
What type of collaboration, is there with Mr. Sorensen in his new role as work-based learning coordinator? Is there going to be collaboration?
So there isn't currently. He'll serve different students. The students that are in IJAG will have the opportunity for work-based learning through that, so we'll be able to give a lot more opportunities for the students. That makes sense.
We'll definitely collaborate, probably in some. And so I live in Boone. We have the Edge Apprenticeship Program, and we're both known across the state with that. So our IJAG staff there meet with our Edge Apprenticeship Program on a weekly basis. So yes, but like Brad said, that our IJAG students, they'll be overseen by Sean, our IJAG specialist for those work-based learning opportunities. And then other students, like I said, if they have Mr. Sorensen, I believe you had said, he will oversee those. But there can definitely be collaboration too, with it. Maybe we have an in on something and for instance, SchBd needs it, we can connect it. So we want to be a partner, we want to be collaborative and not have it be a competition.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you, Emily,
You're welcome.
for being here tonight. And like Billy said, you mentioned that those first couple months that you were here each and every day.
It helps with those follow-up calls because those kids know me, so, it works in my benefit.
Yeah.
So, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Kind of a double deal here today. All right.
Like I said,
Keep it
the skill
going.
prevailed, so.
Yeah.
It's that thing.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Last thing under superintendent's report. Okay, the playground, Perry Elementary Playground. Just give you a couple key dates. May 15th, all of you are invited to a pre-bid walk and talk session. That will be with SiteLogic. Any of the potential bidders will be here so they can get a lay of the land and walking the areas for the playground. May 27th, then there'll be staging mobilizing by contractors. Laura, Matt, and I visited about this, so we're in the coordination mode on May 27th. You'll see some things starting for the playground. July 13th, all civil work will be completed by that date. Bowling playground will begin that playground installation. So again, we'll have another new playground. So we'll have two beautiful playgrounds in the front, and then we'll have one in the back. So those are some key dates as far as the playground. Also, I want to just have a brief statement talking about safety a lot, but I just want the board to realize some other things. Since the immediate aftermath of January 4th, 2024 shooting at Perry High School, Perry School District officials have been working closely with local, state, and federal law enforcement officials on matters concerning the ongoing safety and security of our school community. This includes discussion and analysis of measures like metal detectors and weapon detection systems, as well as lower cost measures like requiring students to use clear backpacks and a no backpack policy. We've consulted with a nationally recognized school safety expert. You have Mike Dorn's part of his resume. I didn't do the whole thing for you. I did just, I think, 17 or 18 pages of a 44-page document. But with that being said, we have consulted with Mike Dorn as well as others to ensure our district is getting highly experienced and professional guidance, not motivated by someone selling a product, but by those with in-depth and up-to-date knowledge about school safety measures. Time and again, we've been advised that the measures we have in place, including preventative measures to identify and intervene with students in need of support, single point entry into all of our buildings and ongoing staff training are appropriate and beneficial to protecting the safety of our school community. Last paragraph, we have been repeatedly advised that weapon detection systems are error prone, have high rates of false positives and negatives, are prohibitively expensive to maintain and staff, and can create a false sense of security. That's the key sentence in this whole thing. Finally, clear and no backpack policies have been tried in other schools and have been found to have a significantly negative impact on student well-being and school climate, as well as creating false sense of security. I want the board to know that our work to foster a safe and secure learning environment in our schools is part of the ongoing work of our district leadership. We've gone to other states. We've gone to other conventions. We have talked to national FBI. We've talked to a number of
Secret Service.
Secret Service was there. Brad, who else was there? There was another group that was there. Anyways, there were about 50 of them at this big conference that we spoke to. One of the things I asked them all the time, these two things. How about clear backpacks? Why don't those work? How about no backpack? Why are those? And then metal detectors. To a person, nobody that is the professional and the experts in this field has said, hey, make sure you get a metal detector. Not one. So, I know that we had a petition. It mentioned metal detectors, it mentioned clear backpacks. And I want to be clear with the board and to our public. We have thoroughly gone through all of these different things, and repeatedly, the number one thing, gaining relationships with kids, being visible, looking at any red flags and making sure that you have support. We are doing that on a day-to-day basis. I'm proud of our staff, the work that they are doing. And again, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees. I heard an individual the other day that went to an Iowa school, and they had some kind of detector, I'm not quite sure, for a ball game, and they had people manning that. To go to that facility for a Saturday and Sunday game was $65. $65. You could go there for one day for $50, I believe. That's the cost of having them. A metal detector, according to Mike North, would be $500,000 to $1 million every year. $500,000 to $1 million just to man or to handle the metal detectors. Because he said, you want to just this door? You want a middle school door? Oh, we got a soccer game right now. Who's going to do that one? We have a track meet going on. How about golf over here? We have a music event right now going on. You want all of those? And how are you going to man each one of them? So, I just want to assure the board, relationships, offering support for kids that have red flags is being done every month with law enforcement, with guidance counselors, with principals. We're working diligently to make sure the kids are taken care of. Again, there's no guarantee for any of us. But that's what we're doing here in Perry. Okay. Commendations.
Commendations, okay. Josh Van Nornum.
Got it.
I got it right, didn't I? Okay, all right. And Ryan Jolivet for their work developing the new summer lifting program and assisting with the rollout to students and staff. The high school band and choir for a successful spring concert on Monday, May 5th. The team of Landon Grant, Caden Hay, Catherine Miranda, and Seth Borgson for winning second place in the ISU Lights Camera Prevention PSA competition to raise awareness on substance abuse prevention. The high school Battle of the Books team for making it to the Grand Battle competition. Thank you to Travis Langrid and Fairway for providing meats and buns for the staff cookout at Perry Elementary for Teacher Appreciation Week on May 9th. In addition, PEP provided the sides, drinks, and desserts so our teachers could enjoy a wonderful meal as a small token of appreciation for all they do. Huge thanks to Travis, Fairway, and PEP for supporting elementary teachers. Kudos to Mr. Hostetler, fourth grade teacher whose class achieved 100% proficiency on ISAP English Language Arts and 96% proficiency on mathematics. While overall all students and teachers in grades 3 to 5 at Perry Elementary did a very nice job on ISAP this year, to have a full class of 100% proficiency is an outstanding accomplishment. We are proud of our 8th grade students for packing 20,088 meals on Thursday, May 8th to help feed people all over the world with Meal from the Heartland. Thank you to Raccoon Valley Bank for funding the experience and providing several volunteers. Thanks to Meal from the Heartland, Chris Marks, Holly Kilmer, IJAG, and all of the 8th grade students for doing some impressive work. A special thank you to Chris Marks for organizing the experience. Okay. General business.
Ooh, I can't believe it.
Approve flexibility account resolution.
Okay, you have a copy of that resolution included in your board packet.
I make a motion to approve flexibility account resolution.
I'll second. Oh, man.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
So the resolution approving transfer of funds to the flexibility account within the general fund has been passed. Approve DMAC in-person course list for Perry High School for 2025-26 school year.
Yes, you should all have a copy of that. I think it's in your board packet. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yep, sure was.
So I was here, I believe it was last month,
Yep.
to go
It
over
was
the online
heavy.
classes.
Yeah, they were just last month. You're not going to forget that.
Right, okay, very good. I might. So these are the in-person classes. So these are the courses that are offered here at the center. So we are fortunate to have several in the academic area, liberal arts transfer courses, and then we have 7 career academies that we also offer over there that students take. So this is the list of courses. If you have any questions about any of those, I'm happy to.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstain? Abstain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
That was worth the wait, wasn't it,
That was
Tammy?
so worth the wait.
to see a lot of good foundational things.
I did, it was, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Approve Hazel Health Mental Health Online Provider.
All right, first of all, in your package, you'll see a little bit about Hazel Health, and it is a school-centered telehealth provider. When Linda and I were on the Hill at the Capitol, we were just finishing up, and then I think Carter said, hey, you know, how about if you take a look at Hazel Health? Well, at that point, wasn't really interested, but the more that we talked to them, we saw a niche. So we then had the administrators meet with them virtually and went over the program, and they seemed very excited about the possibility. I want to emphasize no cost. They are funded through, they have a number of different funding sources, and that's why they were at the Hill too. I don't know if legislatively they were funded, but the key that we saw, not only that it no expense to us, okay, but number two, the availability for mental health, and we'd like to be able to start it for the summer because we know that kids need that help in the summer so we don't have setbacks. They have a very strategic and very involved rollout program. And then in your package, you'll see the information. Just like our IJAG speakers, a lot of data-driven, I guess, data-driven decision-making on their part. They have a number of therapists in other languages, which is also a huge plus. So we thought, for a year, no cost.
It's just a one-year contract, right, Clark?
It's just a one-year contract.
Do we have any idea what year 2 would look like? They didn't get that far, or they did? No.
They didn't say that there'd be we didn't really talk about the year 2 and there's going to be a cost. They hope to have it funded.
Possibly forever, yeah, sure.
But again, no guarantee, but they have, it's a national organization, and they feel very confident that they could do this for a number of years. But I said to Linda, we talked to her admin, we said, let's just give it a year.
And,
So-
you know, they could provide lots of different kinds of healthcare, whether it be telehealth, whether it be in-person, whether it be local or not local, and that they could provide services regardless of what kind of health insurance the family has or doesn't have. And, you know, they would work with Medicaid, they would work with traditional policies, they would work with people who had no policies. So their whole point was to get to provide some kind of health services and mental health services for kids. I mean, that is their bottom line. And they would like to start looking at like July to June because they're concerned about the time that the kids are not in school, where there's no one to actually, other people to have eyeballs on them, or to maybe to be able to detect some things, or to help smooth over some of the rough patches of summer. So they did say it would take about 6 weeks to get the MOU.
That's what they thought, and if there's some kids that they feel or we feel are ones that need something sooner, they would try to work with that. But if approved, then we'll start the rollout with that, trying to meet with staff, students, get things out to family members. So we'll see what happens.
Motion to approve?
Oh, I'd like to read the motion because we got the specific agreement just this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So the motion will be to approve Master Services Agreement between Perry Community School District and Hazel Health, Inc. and Telehealth Services USA for teletherapy professional services beginning May 16, 2025, and ending May 15th, 2026.
Motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Just to be clear, we could get away from this after a year if the cost is
It's a
not
1 year
conducive
It's just
to.
a 1 year period.
Yeah, and we feel like we could easily walk away from something like this.
Oh, depends how effective it is.
Well, yeah.
It's effective, but cost-wise will make a big difference.
Yeah.
But no, we won't be, if there's gonna be a cost, then we won't be offering that.
Okay.
What,
That is the specific dates of the term on the agreement.
so there was an influx of services over the last year. A lot of them were grant-based. Are some of those services going specifically Jenna's position? Are they going away or?
No.
Which ones are staying,
Yes.
which ones are going? And is this gonna overlap with some of those services that we already have in
Well,
place?
in talking to Jenna Wise and Mandy Ross, we said, what's the need? And right now, they said that our therapists are overwhelmed. They can't see all the kids. The issue right now is they just can't see them all. They need another avenue that we be able to get kids and parents to on that. So at this point, there's 91, I think, Brad, 90 or 91 students that are seeing or trying or want to see mental health therapists, but we're not serving them all. And Jenna's concern is this, and this is what we have to work on, is we need to make sure that we have a rubric and a system to get to those that absolutely are higher need kids, that need that therapy. But then for those that are maybe on the fringe, that even though they offer 6 to 8 sessions at the beginning, we need some of those that are on the fringe to steer them to this angle, so our therapist can maybe see the 40 or 45, whatever is a good number to manage for those more intense therapy sessions.
Do we know if Jenna's position is coming back or not?
At this point, yes. But
No guarantee.
Not 100%. Got it. Yeah, the main reason I bring that up is because.
it looks like it is, Eddie, but I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
Just because we've been working and changing and adapting and changing some more, and let's just say the grant writing is an interesting process. But it seems likely. I can say that.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Approve transfer from general fund to student activity fund for protective and safety equipment for 24-25 in the amount of $12,275.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Approve the instructional and activity fee schedule for 25-26 school year.
Okay, I just want to highlight a couple things, not very long on this, but some of these changes are due to either state or conference. So, for example, the $8, that's a state thing. Middle school track will still be 6, but the middle part that I want everybody to be aware of, okay? And that is, let's see, the second line, reduced cost for senior pass at $20 instead of lifetime passes. I think it's fair. I don't think it's too much for our seniors. I just am letting the board know, when we vote on this, that seniors may have another opinion on this.
So it's $20 per year?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And right now, many of them have lifetime passes, but you heard Tina allude to the fact that we have, in the past, given a lot of passes out. Well, we're at a point, folks, where everything costs a great deal. Transportation, coaches, and I'm not going to go through all that. But I think it's only fair that we all pitch in. Okay? So I just want the board to be real clear, say, Clark, what did we do? When we passed this, I got 3 seniors that just called me. Well, just make sure you look at that communication, Jerry. Send them back to Tina, send them back to me. All right?
And define a senior citizen.
You and me.
Linda, Sage? Max is well,
I'll make a motion.
okay, I don't know. I think,
Before we get
I honestly don't know.
Before we get.
So,
I'll
what
have to
we,
find that out.
so all of the passes that, like, the retired teachers have been given, those are no longer going to be in effect, is that correct? Am I reading
That's
that?
what we're saying, yeah.
Okay,
So it'll be
so
nothing
we need to
retroactive.
make sure that that information then is publicly available so that no one can come back and say, well, I didn't know.
So
Because
there'll be some work to be
there's
done,
going to
I'm
be
just telling you.
a lot of them who are going to say,
And what about the school board association passes? Do we have those out?
I don't, all I have is a retired teacher pass, I don't,
I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
that one I don't know.
Anything done from another organization, all right, so we'll have, for example, the boys union, or girls union, or whatever. We may have coaches from another district that isn't coaching right now and have a pass. We may have a principal that has a pass. But those are not from Perry, all right? So we're just trying to get it where when you're going to the Perry game, $20 if you go to, 10 games. All I'd say is, if you're gonna complain about that, go to another district not too far from here and they'll just charge you $65 for 2 days.
Yep.
Okay?
So what type of a pass do they do
They
right
get a
now
card.
for
They have
senior
it's just
citizens?
it's like a credit card, only it's not a credit card, it's just a paper. Do you have it, Linda?
So many questions today, Ken.
I-
You are just full of.
In business office, I've never seen one.
You're just
That's
so
what
full
I've
of
got.
questions.
Do you need help communicating this to the Retired Teachers Association? Because I know somebody that's in that group. And I'm guessing that's a group we want to keep happy and have done great things.
I know a lot of them in
Yeah, I
that
know,
group.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I just think it might be so,
Yeah.
I like your idea, we go out there, kind of explain it. I think rational people will understand.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think if they're caught off guard, so this is the start, the rollout would have to, I'll talk to Tina as far as, having a flyer and then also just trying to share it to retired teachers, Rotary,
Yeah, because I can only think of a couple out of the group that are going to even question
But those couple tend to be,
anything.
Yeah,
But
but those-
they are vocal
Vocal.
people. Yeah, they
I just think
are.
it's good to get it out there.
No,
Yeah.
but they need to know.
Yep.
And that can be part of
That sounds like a news item.
the newsletter that goes out to the retared teachers. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, that
something
goes out
simple
in
would be good.
September, so we can get that out.
Jim, give us a week maybe before you put that out. So,
My only question is admissions for the musical. I know that there are other districts that charge more than $6 and $8. Are we maxed out at that number? And how is it that other districts can charge more?
We did charge more for, wasn't
The
it
music.
1 year?
yeah, then boy.
And the turnout was not great. So there was a discussion to revert
How long ago was this?
2 years.
2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
It's been a while.
That was not a recommendation to change that at this time, so we didn't have that changed.
Because I know that was also an area where some of us older, seasoned classroom people couldn't understand why they couldn't use their pass for that.
I make a motion to approve the instructional and activity fee schedule for the next school year.
There you
I
go.
have one more question.
Yeah?
Is there any
I'll
way
second.
we could have this be the policy moving forward, but honor the lifetime passes retroactively? The reason I say that is because, okay, fine, you go to sign up for like Dish Network and they give you a lifetime guarantee of $95. Then 3 years down the road, oops, that lifetime guarantee is not worth
the paper was written on. Kind of along those lines.
Yeah.
Did they buy it? Did they ever buy the lifetime pass though? That was given
No,
to
they were
them.
given.
So,
They were
so,
free.
Yeah, I know.
so things that
You
are
could
given
sell
come and go all the time.
Well, but we could give them a lifetime pass, but it would just be for $20.
There you go.
So.
Absolutely.
we can still-
It's a small
But
price to
if you
pay.
join Booster Club, you can get into 5 of the athletic events
Yeah, for $100.
for $100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5. Imagine having 2
Yeah.
kids and you're going to 20
Booster
events.
Club doesn't buy the activity passes
No.
from the district.
That's another.
No, that's
So
another
that's
problem.
another issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max, I don't think
Giving
it's a
away
bad idea.
revenue.
I'm just trying to think.
I think they give it
if we
back to you
almost
in other
have
ways,
Take
Ken.
the Band-Aid off and say, hey,
I think
lifetime pass are 20, because
Give it back in other ways.
how do we know where,
Like the.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I get that.
$75,000.
Cages.
we
Yes.
have to revert to it though.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Approve high school.
No, I said aye.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was under my breath. I was reading, sorry.
So we're all
Oh,
5-0
yes.
vote
Yep,
then?
sorry about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll all sync together on that one.
Approve high school IJAG MOU for 2025-26 school year for $50,000 and middle school IJAG MOU for 25-26 school year for $25,000.
All right,
I make oh, sorry.
go ahead. No.
I make a motion to approve the high school
I'll second.
and middle school hijack.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Good. My
Here
turn.
we are.
Approve revisions
Travis.
of board policy 603.1 to 603.91.
Okay. All right. 603.1, we struck out state, made Iowa, including instruction related to civics, and legal reference added 11. Cross-reference added 903.2, community resource persons and volunteers, changed and updated, reviewed, and approved dates. 6032, no changes, updated, reviewed dates. 6033, added 501.16, homeless children and youth, 711.1, student school transportation eligibility, 802.5 added that, adjusted or updated, reviewed, revised, and approved dates. 603.4, struck out a couple words at the top paragraph and in the second paragraph, updated the reviewed, revised, and approved dates. 603.5 added IASB states districts are no longer required to teach about AIDS, struck out a line in the first paragraph, added in Iowa Code 80, updated, reviewed, and approved dates. 603.5E1, no changes. 603.6, no changes. Updated reviewed date. 603.7, no changes. Updated reviewed date. 603.8, no changes. Updated reviewed date. 603.8R1, no changes. 603.9, no changes. Updated reviewed date. 603.9R1, no changes. 603.10, no changes. Updated reviewed date. 603.11, no changes. Updated reviewed date.
Motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Personnel.
Okay, at your spot, you have the updated, and maybe updated personnel sheet.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
I have one question. On Lila's position, she was already in a position at Paces.
Yes?
Are we replacing that position that Lila was at, or is that she going to take over both?
Basically taking over both, but there'll be times though that we will have another person in the office area.
Yeah.
Less than what Lila was.
Yeah.
Less cost.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's total.
Yeah.
She's taken on both positions, but
We're not taking on an additional Lila
No.
position. Yep, okay.
And part of, there will be an additional staff doing some of that work, but it's going to be funded through a grant for next year.
Great.
So that,
Yeah.
and that, those will be limited hours, but be helping with some office type duties.
Speaking of grants, did that job description get modified to include that grant
Yes.
portion?
Yes, it did. And it was also made very clear that it needs to be self-sustainable. We're working, the paces will be self-sustainable.
Good.
Okay?
With the personnel
Yep.
item, I'd like to just kind of reflect on the fact that had those folks who are retiring been here, this would have been their very last board meeting, with the exception of Kent, Kevin, and Mary, because they will go until June 30th. But 423 years of experience and service to our district, just, that's an awful lot of expertise to say goodbye to. So we thank you very much for your time with us, and I wish they could all be here that we could tell them that. May 21st, 3:30 is the staff awards, and that's when these individuals will be given their retirement plaques. Each building is doing their own retirement get-together with their staff. May 23rd is senior pictures for those of us who are going to be at graduation doing pictures, and there are going to be 4 of us, Brad? 4 of us at graduation? Okay.
Is this board comments, or are we doing?
There'll be 4 of us.
Yes.
And on the 25th, just so we get, so,
Is Travis sitting out?
what?
4 board members?
Yes, 4 board members, because we've got 3 with family members, and then you got me who,
More the merrier.
I know, that's what I thought. Works for me,
I'm fine with it.
okay?
Yeah, board comments, are we trained to?
We're down to board comments,
We're-
yeah.
Have we?
We haven't voted.
Oh,
I'd say we haven't voted yet, so
Yeah.
yeah, let's vote.
Are you okay?
I'm done.
So motion by Travis, second by Max, to approve the hires, transfers, and resignations as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay,
Now.
board comment.
Yes, there we
I did part of mine there. I got a little ahead of myself there, my mouth was a little fast. Phone policy. We need to look at that phone policy, because it has to be in place by July 1. And with that, we need to get some guidance from
DE.
DE on, you know, how we recognize what is instructional time and what is a legitimate reason for people to have their phone as opposed to putting them away. And very definitely have to make sure that we have all of our staff on board, that phones are not out for kids or staff. The phones are put away. And you will be very quick to say when you go into a classroom, you drop yours in the box. That's where it goes. It goes in a box, or it goes in your, wherever you put it. It's not to be out. Just board retreat is June 13th. It's going to be at Farm Credit. Clark and I have talked with Tammy Draba, and we are doing a Zoom with her on Friday morning because she's going to help put some stuff together on PLCs and instructional coaches and how we can incorporate them into our curriculum, into our day, and how, you know, how we as a board can be, you know, more into what's going on there.
And it connects to that educational
Right.
excellence. And we want to try to go deeper into that if we can.
I'm done. It's been a long night, sorry.
On that last comment on the cell phone policy, I'm interested in jumping on that whenever we can have a meeting, maybe having it by the June retreat.
Yeah.
It hasn't come out yet, but we're still on that book study. So the concept for that anxious generation is for it to get rolled out soon. Doing it starting first week of June, having 2 Zoom sessions for people that want to jump on, and then a panel early July. I just think we have to work hard as a community, to take some of this off the shoulders of the school
Yeah.
district,
You're right.
because it should be parents doing most of this.
So those books, so are there any available, or you just?
We got some in my office. I'm happy to drop one off.
Okay.
And so once we release this out, we'll have places where people can
Okay.
check them out, buy them, do whatever they want.
Yep.
But I think it's good for us to do that over the
I do
summer.
too.
On that same note, the policies piece, I'm interested in this summer reviewing a few of them. So I don't know if we can set up a time
Yep.
to expand. I know Linda and myself are on the committee,
Yep,
obviously
that's-
Clark,
that'd
but
be great.
if we can get a few more people, I just think this summer, I'm interested in at least a
Okay.
couple more policies to review. And then the last one is that shared cost model that IJAG has, I think is probably something we need to look at for other programs, just with staffing and funding issues coming down the pipeline. I have long been interested in exploring Marine Corps ROTC. Kind of dropped it for a number of years. I'm interested in renewing it. So I have some contacts at, oh goodness, a district out west, I can't remember what. Anyways, so at some point, I don't foresee it for the next couple of years. I really don't. There's just a lot going on. But this is like a multi-year project. It's funded by the federal government. I believe it has an impact on the culture and climate of a school district. And I just really think it has potential. So just putting that on the radar for anybody that's interested in doing that over the next couple of years. It's basically this.
You mentioned ROTC, but that would be tell me the big picture.
So essentially, it's IJAG. It's an external program that gets put into a school district, partially funded by the federal government, partially funded by the local school district. It's a curriculum-based program, very similar to IJAG, different target, but you have young people that join it that have some interest in the military, some decide not to go into it. Golly, what's the name of the school district? There's 2 of them in Iowa. I think highly of it. I just think it has a potential to, I think there's a lot of young people that could benefit. And we have a pretty significant number of young people that join the military out of this district, so I think so just putting on your radar, it's a multi-year process.
That will be something maybe we could have some of the senior citizens talk to us besides the activity card.
Right,
Something
right.
on that line. So, hey, board, make sure you have a cookie or 2. And thank you for your service. Who brought the cookie?
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Thanks, Clark.
Thank you guys.
And the IJ, didn't they do cookie walk too?
They did.
They used to.
That was when Tina was around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blood bank, and that's all fine, bring back the cookie walk.
Yeah. I make a motion to adjourn.
We do.
Second?
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those
Thank you.
opposed?
Travis, you missed it by about 5 minutes.
I did. Yeah. Sure did.
I think I just did a quick